There's been a massive data leak from Credit Suisse, the second largest bank in Switzerland. The leak covers more than 30,000 accounts, totaling over 100 billion Swiss francs. That's more than 109 billion US dollars. The data was leaked to the German newspaper Suddeutsche Zeitung by a man who was morally repulsed by the actions of the bank. It's been revealed that the bank has got dealings with drug dealers, gangsters, corrupt politicians and corrupt businessmen from some of the most corrupt countries in the world, including quite a lot from Venezuela, from Egypt, from the Ukraine, from Thailand and from many other developing countries. We're going to be looking today at some of the background of this story and doing some analysis into what it means. These leaks have helped shine a light on the role that the otherwise secretive Swiss banks play in looting countries in the developing world of their wealth and resources. For hundreds of years, Swiss banks have developed their role as a place where the world's elite can hide illegally gotten gains. This began in the 18th century with aristocrats from around Europe hiding their money there. It continued into the modern world with people such as Ferdinand and Imelda Marcos in the Philippines and many of today's corrupt governments in the developing world. In 2007, a whistleblower from UBS, the other major bank in Switzerland, revealed to American authorities how it was helping thousands of the wealthiest Americans avoid tax at home. The American government then pressurized the Swiss into revealing which of their citizens held secretive accounts. In recent years, other countries in the West have done the same. In 2014, the same year that they began sharing information with the Americans, they signed up to the International Convention on the Automatic Exchange of Banking Information. And since 2018, the Swiss have shared information with foreign governments about their citizens who have private accounts in Switzerland. It is now much more transparent and much harder for people from the West to hide money there and avoid paying tax. There are, however, over 90 countries, mostly in the developing world, which have not signed up to this convention, and the Swiss can still keep money there without telling tax authorities in their countries. The Tax Justice Network, which campaigns for fairer taxes, estimates that 21 billion American dollars is lost to countries around the world as tax revenue because of Switzerland every year. We don't know how many of the accounts involved in this data leak are connected to tax avoidance, but it is reasonable to assume that many of them are. This breach of data comes at a very bad time for Credit Suisse. The last 12 months has seen the bank having numerous problems with its investment banking side, and the bank has been attempting to pivot towards wealth management as a more stable and secure form of income. The problems on the investment banking side have come from their taking on some very risky clients. Archegos Capital Management was the private family office for the wealthy financier Bill Hwang, who in the space of about a week in 2021 lost over $20 billion. He was very heavily leveraged to Credit Suisse, and their losses amounted to maybe around $4.7 billion. When the UK-based Greensill Capital filed for insolvency last year, it did so owing $140 million to Credit Suisse. During a conference call on the 10th of February this year, Thomas Gottstein, when speaking to investors, had promised to steer the bank away from more risky investments towards something more stable, working to secure the wealth of its extremely rich clients. It is this core component of Credit Suisse's business which is now under increased scrutiny because of these revelations. They appear to show what could be seen as not just failures of due diligence, but a deliberate policy of turning a blind eye to drug dealing, to criminals, and to people stealing tax money from other countries. In response to the leak, Credit Suisse has issued a statement where it says it cannot comment on individual specific cases due to the privacy laws concerning banking in Switzerland, but that it strongly rejects the allegations and inferences about the bank's purported business practices based on partial selective information taken out of context, resulting in tendacious interpretations of the bank's business conduct. But the revelations do raise some very pressing questions about Credit Suisse's business practices. Is the problem just that Credit Suisse has a high tolerance for especially risky clients? Has it put enough work into strengthening its due diligence controls since its losses last year? Does the bank have a deliberate policy of prioritising profit over ethics? Is there a culture of just holding your nose, closing your eyes and accepting money which clearly has a dubious and possibly criminal provenance? Credit Suisse has told the media that it keeps up to date with all the latest banking regulations, that it has a strict zero tolerance policy for any tax evasion, and that it has strong controls in place to prevent money laundering. However, these kinds of scandals and allegations have dogged Credit Suisse for decades. In the last year alone, they have been forced to admit that they were defrauding their own customers, involving a scandal to do with loans in Mozambique. Credit Suisse has been planning to pivot towards a more heavy reliance on its wealth management business in the future, but these fresh revelations will cause problems both with regulators and with the markets. They currently handle over $1.7 trillion of clients' funds, and they are looking to increase this in the future. They are diverting funds from their investment bank, and they are looking to hire over 500 new relationship managers in the future. If they want to regain trust in the future though, they will have to work hard now to show that they are serious in their claims about wanting to clean up the bank, and they will have to resist the lure of easy, dirty money.